Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 origin continent based on novel. So let's start. In the high sky far from Huyang City, divine monarch Yuan was leisurely navigating the void. There are always some fools in this world, thought divine monarch Yuan, who pity the weak, even to the extent of fighting desperately with me for their sake. Brother Shong, you lack the spiritual will necessary to become a peerless powerhouse. A peerless powerhouse should be cold and ruthless. For the sake of one's own path, even if it means sacrificing tens of billions of creatures, there should be no hesitation. Seize every opportunity. Sacrifice everything that can be sacrificed, even if it's sacrificing one's own loved ones. Only with absolute sincerity towards cultivation can one achieve great accomplishments. In this vast world, with its numerous major powers and countless geniuses, to aspire to become the primal chaos overlord, one must endure what innumerable cultivators cannot, must do what innumerable cultivators cannot do, must have a determination to risk everything. Divine monarch Yuan, facing someone like Shong Qianyang, felt a bit of heartache, but more a sense of looking down. He disdainfully viewed these fools. He was the true elite among the cultivators, possessing an unyielding determination. Yu Qianshu and Yu Qianyi were killed, but I don't know by whom, thought divine monarch Yuan. As long as it wasn't the primal chaos overlord who took action, there is no threat to me. Now that my strength is revealed, I might as well proceed as if it's been exposed, which, although more dangerous, also allows me to gain more resources. Divine monarch Yuan set off towards Shi Kingdom. Originally, he thought of remaining hidden and low-key to live longer. Divine monarch Yuan knew well that to become the primal chaos overlord, the first rule was to survive long. Resources were only secondary. But now at the climax of crisis, with his reputation known, he could no longer lie low, he had to strive for more resources. He traveled through the void, moving swiftly. In the night sky, Luo Fong utilized the mechanical flow secret treasure, Myriad Realms Escape Command, to instantly navigate the void on his flying boat, covering an incredibly long distance. The Myriad Realms Escape Command had reached the level of the Primal Chaos Realm in terms of space traversal. That is, within Huyang City, due to the suppression of space-time by the city's formation, the Myriad Realms Escape Command could only teleport short distances. But the situation was different outside the city. Outside the city, one could freely navigate the void. The assistance of the Myriad Realms Escape Command sped up the journey even more. This Yuan keeps fleeing towards the direction of Shi Kingdom, he's really fast. Fortunately, with the Myriad Realms Escape Command, we can still catch up, said Luo Fong. Is he planning to flee back to Shi Kingdom? Morosa couldn't help but speak. This Yuan is really cautious, escaping right after his strength is exposed. He's the craftiest opponent we've encountered on the land of origin. His godly body is not that strong, but his strength is comparable to General Yong. This shows that his realm surpasses General Yong's, Luo Fong solemnly said. Such a high-level being, with unpredictable methods, we must not be the slightest bit careless. How do we deal with him? Asked Morosa. At that time, you disguise yourself as a strand of primal chaos current and blend into my primal chaos domain, said Luo Fong. A perfect life form's disguise, flawless. He will not detect it. Don't rush to make a move. Wait until I've driven him into a desperate situation, at the most critical moment. Then you deliver the fatal blow, Luo Fong said. Okay, Morosa nodded. The more intense Luo Fong's murderous intent became, the calmer he was. Luo Fong was clear that, given divine monarch Yuan's extreme caution and the great efforts he made for self-preservation, it was never too much to plan carefully. Yuan must die. Divine monarch Yuan kept on his journey. My identity has been exposed. I left too many traces in Huyang City, and if they are willing to pay the price, they can use these many traces to deduce the secrets of heaven and determine my location. But I am constantly moving. By the time they come after me, I will have already reached another place. They will have to deduce the secrets of heaven over and over again, a cost they can't afford, divine monarch Yuan thought. Suddenly his expression slightly changed as he looked ahead. In front of him in the void, a figure appeared, a figure with 6 pairs of golden wings. Primal chaos current instantly enveloped a vast area around him. Without the suppression by the Huyang city formation, the primal chaos domain could expand much farther. Amid the primal chaos current, Luo Fong stepped forward, looking coldly at divine monarch Yuan. Yuan, you cannot escape. Luo He. Seeing Luo Fong, divine monarch Yuan fully understood. It seems it was you who killed Yuqian, Shu and Yuqian Yi. The various forces of Huyang city underestimated you before. How did you track me down? To catch up this fast, it must be through cause and effect. Marquis won't betray me, is it Shong Qianyang? He has been with me for too long, and his artifact refining skills have far exceeded my expectations. I must have stumbled in this aspect, divine monarch Yuan speculated. Luo Fong looked at him and said, you killed brother Shong without a second thought. Even I was deceived. I thought you and brother Shong were very close before. In more than 2 decades, Luo Fong had seen Sang Shuiyun more than once. But he never saw through his real face. Anyone who obstructs my path to cultivation shall die, said divine monarch Yuan calmly. The so-called feelings cannot affect me. Luo He. I couldn't fight with all my strength in Huyang city. But now, I can truly have a battle with you. I just hope you are strong enough to put enough pressure on me to temper my path, and to help me achieve the primal chaos realm. Divine monarch Yuan stared at Luo Fong. Don't be too weak, it would be meaningless then. Big talk, let's hope you're still this confident later. Luo Fong waved his hand, and a torrent of blood waves surged out, affecting all around and also enveloping divine monarch Yuan. Utilizing a mechanical flow treasure. Divine monarch Yuan stood there, shaking his head slightly, truly crude and clumsy. As soon as he finished speaking. Boom tilde 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 tilde. Divine monarch Yuan instantaneously dispersed like cloud mist, transforming into massive surging blood waves, which spread in all directions and naturally formed a profound and immense array. The array managed to repel Luo Fong's life-blood river, and even the primal chaos domain struggled to suppress it. Primal chaos domain and life-blood river couldn't surpass this great formation. All the primal chaos realm moves that I have come to understand till now are integrated into the blood cloud great array. Within the surging blood wave, a figure of divine monarch Yuan formed, stepping across the waves. The blood wave was vast, and the formation was operating, affecting the surroundings. Various primal chaos realm moves are integrated into the formation. Luo Fong was secretly shocked. No wonder there was a clear gap in godly bodies, yet he matched General Yong. Luo Fong withdrew the life-blood river, but the primal chaos domain still spread out, offering suppression and many other wondrous uses besides. Luo He, let me see your strength. The moment blood cloud great array enveloped Luo Fong, he realized the terrifying aspect of the blood wave, indeed far surpassing his life-blood river. In terms of power, it was just slightly stronger. But from afar, it looked like water waves, yet up close, it felt like mist. When it contacted his 10 directions infinite blade force on his body's surface, he felt a dark chill, and even more, toxins penetrated the blade force, seeping into his godly body. These toxins of law was also a primal chaos realm level move. Weak godly bodies would die upon contact. Luo Fong instantly utilized the body refining method of Duan Mier, burning divine power, and his godly body's power surged, naturally blocking the corrosive penetration of this blood mist. You have unlimited godly bodies. Divine monarch Yuan stood amid the rolling blood waves, somewhat surprised, but he didn't care, as it was normal for those who dared to hunt him to possess unlimited godly bodies. This blood cloud great array of yours, its power is average. Luo Fong produced a blood shadow knife in his hand, immediately slashing down with it. A terrifyingly brilliant blade light appeared, where the blade light passed, even black spatial cracks formed. The immense force tore the blood cloud great array wide open, and many blood waves were directly annihilated. This move also shocked divine monarch Yuan. A single slash cleave through space. The primal chaos realm moves you've realized, do they prioritize power? Coupled with the advantage of unlimited godly bodies, you can actually cleave space with one stroke. You are indeed stronger than Yonghu, very good. Divine Monarch Yuan became more excited. The entirety of the blood cloud great array that was split open instantly closed up, and this time, within the blood cloud great array, 3 blood swords containing countless secret patterns were naturally nurtured. Each sword's might was quite terrifying. Luo Fong instantly struck with his blade. 3 blade shadows flashed, cutting through the heavy blood waves, sweeping past those 3 blood swords. Within the rolling blood waves, the 3 blood swords vanished like phantoms, reappearing in the rolling blood waves behind Luo Fong. Boom, boom, boom. At an extremely close distance, the 3 blood swords truly stabbed into Luo Fong's back, puncturing the 10 directions infinite blade force, and on Luo Fong's back they forcefully stabbed 3 wounds, barely breaking the skin. The skin wounds healed instantly, though. This scene left the originally confident Divine Monarch Yuan somewhat stunned. His blade technique is extremely powerful. How can his godly body's defense also be so strong? Unlimited godly body, to withstand my blood cloud great array attacks, and only scratch the skin. Divine Monarch Yuan wasn't inexperienced with fighting unlimited godly bodies. General Yong was an unlimited godly body, and Yu Qianshu's godly body was also on par with unlimited godly bodies. None were so unshakable. Luo Fong stood there, his blood cloud great array attack had merely scratched his skin. How could he fight? He must have cultivated an emperor-level body refining method, and his protective blade technique must also be at the primal chaos realm level. That's why he is so unshakable. Divine Monarch Yuan felt the pressure too. Luo Fong also felt discomfort. This blood cloud great array was mysteriously unpredictable. His blade technique tore and destroyed, merely annihilating a few blood waves. Suddenly, Luo Fong shook his body, and his godly body abruptly enlarged 1,000,000,000 times. This? Divine Monarch Yuan was astounded. Looking at an incredibly majestic giant divine spirit standing between heaven and earth, he was trillion kilometers tall, the surrounding mountains barely reached his toes, and even Huyang's city in front of him would seem petite. Unlimited godly body can expand or contract. The larger the body, the greater the world compression it needs to withstand. To be able to expand to such a size, to what extent has his unlimited godly body's refining reached? Divine Monarch Yuan was alarmed. Luo Fong looked down. Trillion kilometers was not his limit. He could grow even larger, but it was enough. From Luo Fong's perspective at this moment, the majestic blood cloud great array seemed like a small puddle, even smaller than his foot. After all, Divine Monarch Yuan's godly body was only so large, thereby limiting the range of the blood cloud great array he could maintain. Boom. According to the body refining method Duan Mie, Luo Fong's divine power suddenly burned to its limit. Maintaining such a vast godly body already rapidly depleted divine power, and burning to the limit, he was consuming about 1/10,000th of his divine power reserve every breath, naturally increasing his strength multiple times. This was his most frantic state. Die. Luo Fong stomped his foot, heaven split in 5 directions. His 5 toes were like 5 pillars, and his soul like an infinite world, slamming forcefully downward towards that small puddle. How so terrifying? Blood Cloud looked up at this scene, terrified, and the entire blood cloud great array instantly merged into the ground, escaping deep into the earth. Escaping into the ground was also his specialty. Raw tilde. One stomp. Even in the robust land of origin, this stomp forcefully created 100 trillion kilometers deep imprint. It just went past his ankle. Saw the Novelia.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Thank you to the new patrons in the Alliance. Silver Alliance, Universe Master of Red Alliance, Mu Yi Cheng Ju 0919, Carl King. Alliance Hierarch, Weimo 9424, Lotus 1000 Ju, For Tomato Sake, Moon Song Autumn Wind, Pen and Keyboard, Momo Wu Wen, Late Summer. Tomato thanks everyone for your support, touched. Boom tilde. At this moment, Divine Monarch Yuan felt as if an immense world was bearing down on him, the soil and rocks from all directions instantly crushed and annihilated, engulfed by an endless destructive force. No differentiation in coverage. The range was too wide. He exerted his utmost to perform the Earth escape technique, but under the envelopment of the primal chaos domain, his escaping speed was slower than usual. Instantly, the entire blood cloud great array had escaped to a depth of tens of billions of kilometers, yet it was still completely enveloped by an unimaginably huge foot. The blood cloud great array instantly dispersed like mist, crushed to a depth of hundreds of billions of kilometers, by the gigantic foot. Such fierce stomping utterly annihilated many blood mists. Swoosh! Deep beneath Luo Feng's foot, wisps of blood mist began to condense out of thin air, forming a body of blood mist. He's still alive. The towering Luo Feng looked down from above, his foot having left an imprint billions of kilometers in size, and he was surprised that divine monarch Yuan was still alive. How is it possible that one stomp destroyed more than 80% of my godly body? Divine monarch Yuan was frightened, truly terrified. He didn't want to die. He could sacrifice everything just for his own cultivation, but if he himself was gone, what would all the endless years of effort amount to? He cherished his own life, his life was the most precious. Only by living could he reach the true pinnacle. Huff! Divine monarch Yuan reluctantly condensed his godly body, and quickly performed the Earth escape technique again. Escaping. Luo Feng instantly shrunk his body to a height of 200 billion kilometers, and then began to traverse the void with the aid of the Myriad Realms escape command, the void escape technique being much stronger than the Earth escape technique, as earth, water flows, mountains, cities were all part of the void and could all employ the void escape technique. But just as the earth was thick, even with the aid of the Myriad Realms escape command, the distance traveled was relatively short. Whoosh! Luo Feng instantly moved to a location hundreds of billions of kilometers deep underground. The moment he appeared, he felt himself pushing apart countless soil and rocks. But these thick soils and rocks also brought pressure. This was also why Luo Feng had shrunk his stature. Even with all his strength, his foot had only stomped to a depth of hundreds of billions of kilometers. Having estimated how strong the pressure from the soil and rocks could be, the compression formed by a height of 200 billion kilometers underground had a relatively small impact on his strength. Morosa, be ready to strike at any moment. Luo Feng naturally carried the primal chaos current, constantly teleporting toward the depths of the earth, chasing after the severely injured divine monarch Yuan. So fast. Divine monarch Yuan noticed Luo Feng chasing after him. Primal chaos domain combined with spatial traversal is indeed very suitable for chasing. But underground, everywhere is filled with extremely thick soil and rocks. Bang! A gigantic hand carrying the power to destroy heaven and earth tore apart countless soils and rocks, as well as the position where divine monarch Yuan was. Divine monarch Yuan saw a huge hand instantaneously rolling towards him, frightening him so much that his body voluntarily dispersed. At this moment, Luo Feng was 200 billion kilometers tall, but his hands had become enormous, each hand measuring 100 billion kilometers in length. Swinging these hands like giant shields, each strike employed the heavens split in 5 directions blade, and each was a maximal combustion of divine power. Boom! 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 Luo Feng gave chase, relentlessly attacking with his palms, his 5 fingers like 5 blades, leaving black spatial cracks wherever they passed, destroying everything, including divine monarch Yuan's godly body. No matter how unpredictable his godly body shifted and how adept his escaping skills were, facing Luo Feng's extensive coverage attack, he could only endure the terrifying onslaught repeatedly. This divine monarch Yuan seems to have some extremely powerful life force. Clearly, he is already much weakened and my palms have obliterated him into nothingness, yet he can still condense out of the void. As I suspected, he excels in preserving his life, Luo Feng muttered to himself patiently, and as his godly body considerably reduced in size, even the extreme burning of divine power significantly decreased with each expenditure. Now dozens of palms had only used the energy equivalent to 1 foot stomp of his previous massive form. Earth rebirth. Seemingly obliterated into nothingness, yet a trace of blood mist congealed, forming the figure of divine monarch Yuan. In the earth, I can continuously draw power. But the speed at which he destroys my power surpasses my recovery, divine monarch Yuan thought, having never imagined being pushed to this point. He used to believe that without the grand array of Huyang city, no eternal true god in the Yu kingdom could kill him in a true one-on-one fight. Yet, in front of that boundless, towering godly body and those devastating expansive attacks, divine monarch Yuan felt powerless. So this is what maximizing the size at will and divine power reserve advantages of the unlimited godly bodies can do. It's terrifying. I must find a way out soon, or I might be completely obliterated, divine monarch Yuan thought, still calm and looking for an opportunity, even at this moment. Luo Fong pursued as divine monarch Yuan continued to escape deep into the earth. As they went deeper, the oppressive force from the earth grew more terrifying, forcing Luo Fong to reduce his size along with his palms. Now's the time. A dazzling blood light suddenly erupted. In that instant, divine monarch Yuan frantically burned his divine power, and his originally ephemeral blood mist body transformed into a dazzling streak of blood light, escaping through the earth at a speed far surpassing any before. During the chase, Luo Fong consistently deployed the heavens split in 5 directions blade, spreading the primal chaos domain everywhere, with endless primal chaos currents flowing throughout the vast area. Take action. Luo Fong, sensing that divine monarch Yuan was desperately burning his remaining divine power, immediately communicated telepathically with Morosa. Morosa's strand of primal chaos current had already been moved by Luo Fong below where divine monarch Yuan was heading deep beneath them. Whoosh! Divine monarch Yuan was indeed diving deeper into the earth, a skill he was adept in, and the deeper under the earth, the greater his chances of survival. Whoosh tilde tilde tilde. Suddenly, an immense gaping maw appeared before him, so vast it seemed like a bottomless, dark abyss. It enveloped with endless terrifying suction power, engulfing the escaping divine monarch Yuan below. Not good. Divine monarch Yuan was jolted by fear, even more startled than when he had seen Luo Feng's towering form. In this extremely deep part of the underground, how could there be such a massive gaping maw? Under the engulfing power, divine monarch Yuan realized he couldn't resist at all. Die. Moroso emerged from the underground with an imposing stature, especially his head, which was immensely huge. He actively met the attack with his gaping maw. The prey had already reached his mouth, and his gaping maw suddenly snapped shut. With his mouth closed, divine monarch Yuan only felt surrounded by a dark red world. Death had already enveloped him. No. Death had never been so close, and divine monarch Yuan felt as though he had gone mad. After endless years of lurking and cultivating at all costs to reach this point, he could not accept death. He wanted to live. To survive. Boom. The dazzling blood light, already extremely fast in escape, suddenly vanished into thin air from Morosa's mouth, reappearing behind him, and continued to burrow deeper into the underground. What? Morosa was baffled. The thing swallowed into his mouth could actually disappear. The escaping streak of blood light, divine monarch Yuan, was now in utter ecstasy. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha, I knew it, I knew it. I was lacking enough trials. A true battle on the edge of life and death finally allowed me to take the last step. My bloodline has finally transformed. Bloodline transformation. I have now mastered the complete law of primal chaos. Divine monarch Yuan was extremely excited. At that moment, it was with the transformed bloodline talent that he traversed the chaos. Even Morosa's mouth couldn't trap him. I will spare Luo he for now. I need time for my small universe to transform. I need more time for my godly body to transform. Once my strength is completely solidified, I will then kill him. This life and death enmity isn't about bullying the weak. Divine monarch Yuan felt incredibly exhilarated. The path of bloodline cultivation's bloodline transformation was just the beginning of entering the primal chaos realm. Just like the path of laws, after comprehending the law of primal chaos, one also needs the small universe to expand and transform, the divine power to transform, consolidating a more powerful godly body of the primal chaos realm's hierarchy. Even afterward, one needs to cultivate corresponding hierarchy secret techniques. It takes enough time to solidify one's strength. Now, divine monarch Yuan, though still weak in divine power, Merely grasping the law of primal chaos allowed him to come up with brilliant tricks effortlessly, unlike the arduous 9 combinations he had previously. Luo He, I still have to thank you for giving me enough pressure. Divine Monarch Yuan, escaping, was filled with unprecedented joy. The pursuit of endless years had finally been rewarded. Divine Monarch Yuan suddenly saw a pair of eyes. Those were Luo Fong's eyes. At that moment everything else disappeared. Divine Monarch Yuan couldn't even sense his own power or bloodline anymore. In his perceptual world, there was only that pair of immensely terrifying eyes. Boom. See a thnovelfire.net * website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Those eyes, immensely dense, seemed like endless majestic stars bearing down and instantaneously crushed Divine Monarch Yuan. The vast disparity left him with no ability to resist. A clash of wills. Luo Fong, who had long reached the peak of primal chaos overlord in willpower, combined with the unique Yuan technique from the land of origin, while Divine Monarch Yuan's will had only just barely reached primal chaos dominator level. Instant annihilation, not a trace left. The escaping streak of blood light naturally transformed back into a true body corpse, just lay there deep underground, with the true god's heart seemingly intact, yet without consciousness anymore. To think it really forced me to use the Yuan technique. Luo Fong's godly body returned to normal size, appearing beside the corpse. The origin of the Yuan technique was significant, unique in the land of origin. Although onlookers would hardly recognize it, Luo Fong still preferred not to deploy it lightly, he was still too weak. If some ancient existence could see through some reality, it would lead to great trouble for him. Moreover, always relying on the secret technique of willpower could affect his own cultivation path. To reach a higher life form level through cultivation depends on the laws. That is the foundation. He actually managed to escape from my mouth just now. Morosa also appeared at the side, looking at Sang Shuiyan's corpse and couldn't help but drool. Master, I feel a great attraction to him. Even greater than Yu Shu's corpse attracted me. Morosa didn't know that in the last moments, Shuiyan's bloodline had already transformed, which naturally made the corpse unusually significant to him. Don't worry, this corpse will be given to you. Luo Fong extended his hand and pierced through the corpse's chest, removing the true god's heart, but first I need the body to collect the bounty. The body intact, true god's heart intact, would make the Flame Wind Pavilion see the problem. So removing the true god's heart, just in case. After all, catching true god's heart, all forces in Huyang City had already been familiar with it for a long time. Sigh. Taking away the corpse, Luo Fong, together with Morosa, traveled through the void back to the surface. Rumble .. Luo Fong disrupted the massive footprint with the primal chaos domain, looking up at the night sky, where stars twinkled brightly. Yuan is dead, one of the stars in the sky must have dimmed, but it's unnoticeable. Luo Fong said. Every moment, countless stars twinkle, many of them dim. Unless it's the brightest ones, who would care if an ordinary star dims? Morosa said carelessly, we are still too weak. This attempt at intervention had failed, also making Morosa feel his own weakness. Luo Fong looked at the karmic tracing order in his palm, finally not letting down Brother Shong's efforts, then put it away. Let's go, back to Huyang City. Luo Fong immediately took Morosa aboard the flying boat, traveling through the void, heading straight for Huyang City. This video will end here.